Hello and welcome back to Tales Untold. I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt.
And today we're going to be continuing a little bit about ghosts. And we're going to talk about how to capture a ghost. Whether it's a photo, audio, video, that sort of thing. So, have you ever captured a ghost?
I wouldn't say like captured because I have no video proof, but I have done things to try and capture one, and I have gotten some response, I guess I should say. So this also goes back to the Ouija board incident. After that had happened, me and my friend, he had a GoPro, I had a GoPro, so we set them up around the room. And then I also set up my laptop camera facing a laser pointer, and we had taped the button down so it was just pointing straight. And we would just sit on the bed, use our phones, and his GoPro, you would have to press the button to turn it off, and it had like a voice. I don't think it was like name brand GoPro, but you would hear a voice saying like camera on, camera recording, like it would say.
Oh, it would be telling you what was happening. Yeah.
So we were sitting there, and the batteries had just been charged, and it said camera off on his. And we got super freaked out, turned it back on, 78% battery, something like that, like super high battery percentage. We went to check the footage. It just stopped randomly. I don't know if it had like a mark for like how much you can record or something. Maybe the SD card ran out. We didn't really look into that. But the laser pointer never really, nothing walked in front of it. And the cat balls that we had would go off randomly. Do you know what a cat ball is?
I don't.
It's pretty much just a cat toy, but like you turn it on and it starts blinking like red and blue, and then once it stops, like something has to physically touch it for it to light up again.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like an actual cat toy.
Oh, but you were using it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Use something that's motion
touched. I don't know.
Motion activated. That's the word I was looking for.
And then we also had like a flashlight. Because like apparently ghosts, if they touch a flashlight, they can turn it off or whatever.
Well, you have to have those special ones, like the ones that you twist on. You know, like the little mag lights.
I don't really know what those.
So right where the lens is where you'll twist it to turn it on and off.
Oh.
And so you have to put it so that it's all just about on, but not. And then you start asking questions and make one of the flashlights a yes light, one of them a no light.
Yeah.
And then, tell the ghost, like, okay, the one on the left or the red one or the blue one, like however you want to do it, is your yes or no light. And then you start asking the yes or no questions. Like, is your name Bob? Are you female? Those sorts of things. And then in theory, the ghost is supposed to light up one or the other in response.
So I guess we didn't do that right.
You'll have to try again. Where were you when you did these? Where was it? Somebody's house?
I was at his house. It was near Phillipston.
So do you believed this place to be haunted? Is that why you did that, or were you guys just experimenting?
Well, I didn't think it was haunted. I just think because this was after the Ouija board stuff had happened. I don't even know if that was the Ouija board, to be honest, but it just happened after I had played it. So it might have just been a huge coincidence. It might have just been explainable, but I truly believe that there was something in the house.
Not really a risk you want to take.
But right down the street there is a graveyard from his house, so there's that. We also had an EMF meter, which is an electromagnetic field reader. Apparently that can detect ghosts. That didn't work at his house. And when we thought it worked, we were accidentally scanning the electrical box in his house.
Well, I mean, that's kind of something that you want to do. You want to go around and get what's known as a base reading. So, you walk around whatever space you're going to be working in, and you see where your base already is. And, and also places that have electromagnetic fields can actually cause you to have, minimal hallucinations, where it makes you think something's happening. It makes you feel paranoid. It kind of interrupts your personal stability there. Like, it gives you these weird feelings like you're being watched.
Yeah.
So just the fact of finding the electromagnetic field like that is kind of a bonus. So then you can be like, oh, that's why I feel paranoid.
Yeah.
Like that's where that is stemming from. So, I mean, finding something like that it could be a win for places that people think are haunted when it's actually just because there's a huge electromagnetic field happening in that space.
Yeah. We also used, I think it's called an EVP reader. It's like the little
recorder.
Yeah,
a recorder.
EVP recorder. We used one of those. It didn't work at his house, but then later on, after all of this had passed over, this was like a year or two after, we decided to walk through a cemetery with it, and we heard a breath on it. It could have been us. I'm not saying
gust of wind.
Yeah. I don't really believe that was a spirit or a ghost, but that is still something that happened. Dowsing rods I have used don't work. They are so flimsy and weird. I don't even understand the science behind the dowsing rods for spirits.
I think that what they're supposed to do is kind of like the EMF reader is they're supposed to get affected by the electromagnetic field, which causes them to get closer and cross.
So, what are dowsing rods even used for? To find water in the ground?
Yeah, so running water will actually create, a minor bit of electromagnetic field, right? So, that's what they're for, or they were originally for, and then people are like, oh, cool, ghosts create,
electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, so, we can do the same thing, but I don't know. I feel like
the only things I believe in with ghost equipment is the cat balls and the EMF meter. I feel like those have worked for me.
Yeah, I feel like the dowsing rods especially are easily manipulated. Whoever's you really have to trust that person that's holding them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't...
They're easily manipulated,
Right. You could just, tense your hands and they're going to move.
Yeah, when I was using them, they were so hard for me to not move them. I don't know how to explain it unless you've used dowsing rods.
Yeah, and I really think... I mean, someone could look at you and say, oh, that's because there was a huge field there. And, a nut would be like, oh, yeah, that's because you were picking something up. And, oh, no, I don't.
I didn't believe the dowsing rods at all, even after everything that had happened.
Yeah, those are iffy to me. And with the EVPs, I think we talked about this a little bit in season 1. The pareidolia. So that is the interpretation of sounds as voices in one's own language. So, our brains naturally try to make sense of the things happening around us. That's why we hear voices in the wind. That's why, we look at a tree and we're like, oh my God, it's looking back at me. It has eyes. Your brain is trying to find a common denominator in the things in your environment. So, yes, I do think that if you're listening to white noise, literal white noise, there's that sound, eventually, your brain is going to go, oh my God, it's talking to me. Because your brain is trying to make sense of it.
Also, we did talk about this. What that kind of reminded me of this. You remember when we did the urban legends, Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
If you stare into the mirror long enough, your brain will just start making things out of your face.
Yeah, that might have been the episode that we brought this up.
Yeah.
Yes, where your brain is just going to try to make sense of what's happening.
What it's seeing.
Right. Because, I mean, you're giving it limited, especially in a dark environment like that, you're giving your brain limited information.
Yeah, you can barely see yourself.
Right.
That's just a camera flame. You're trying to make a face. Like,
Yeah. And then you're expecting for someone to appear because you're doing this.
yeah.
Guess what you're going to see? So, yeah, I feel like the theme of this season is what you're expecting is what you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, there was one time that I used an EMF meter with my other friend. You might know me from my collaborative channel with my friend Kaden, Double Quaintloke. And we used to like make our videos in this place called the Double Dome or the Office. And the basement used to be a morgue. So I brought my EMF meter down there, and it would go off in random places that didn't make sense. Like in the middle of the room, in the corner of a room where the electric box is like away.
Where there's no electricity running.
Yeah. So that was definitely a little freaky.
I've never used any devices I've never actually gone ghost hunting. Like specifically. I've just had things that have happened that are not easily explainable or, like immediately a reason is recognized.
I feel like most of the things that has happened to me can be explainable, but like so much happened randomly that I feel like it was definitely a spirit or a ghost. But we also could have just been paranoid at some of the parts.
Definitely, yeah. Because once you notice something, then you're gonna be on high alert.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna look at every noise. Now, I have always loved the show Ghost Hunters. I enjoy the fact that when they do pick up EVPs, they allow their client to listen to them. And they even do it with one another. They allow them to listen, and then they wait. What do you think? What did you hear?
I like that they do that, so it's not just like, oh my god, it's a ghost, we need to go. Like,
Right, yes. And then,
I hate people like that.
Right, and then when they reveal it to their client, they allow the client to listen to it without
them having like an effect on them.
Right, without their interpretation.
Yeah. They're like, what do you think happened?
Right.
Giving them an open opinion.
Right.
Open mind.
Yes, we'll let you look at. They'll explain to them the scenario, like, oh, this person asked this question, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
But typically they don't disclose what they believe was heard.
I like that.
Right, and I definitely think that creates an unbiased response by whoever they're talking to.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that the things that they've experienced aren't faked, honestly. But they seem like really genuine guys, the TAPS team. So I don't think that would be the case.
Cody and Satori were super nice. I met them.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
They're part of TAPS.
That's cool.
They were super nice.
That's awesome.
They apparently worked at the Conjuring House for a little bit, but apparently it was also recently closed down for a while because they were operating under a false license. Crazy. So much as
like the
people that
the
own
Conjuring
the
House?
Yeah, like in Rhode Island.
A false license? What do you mean?
Like, I'm pretty sure for like a tour thing like that, you need like a certain license or permit, and they were operating under a false one. I think it's crazy to me because I went there like basically a year ago, and so much has happened in this year. Like, this dude was fired because a spirit told one of the other workers that he stole $3,000 or whatever. Yeah. Crazy stuff has happened since I've gone there.
So we have ghost testimonies now. That's insane. Imagine ghosts were proven real, and then suddenly they start being admitted to court and like, oh yeah, well, this ghost said that you did this.
You know how many people would be absolutely thrown in prison?
Oh my goodness, that would be insane.
That would be.
I don't know. So that kind of goes with what I was thinking. Like, what would it take to convince science, like the science world, that ghosts absolutely exist, that something paranormal like that is real?
I feel like, I mean, I've been using the word wrong as well. I feel like ghost isn't the right word.
Right.
I feel like spirits isn't either. I don't know.
Paranormal entities?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Other entities? Something like that.
Well, I guess entity would also kind of give it the pretense that it has its own individual cognition. Like each interaction with something is its own being. You know what I'm saying? And then there's also the potentials that there's different levels of, I don't want to say intelligence.
Yeah.
Maybe strength, ferocity of each entity that you're coming across.
Yeah.
So I don't think ghost is the right word either.
Because like when you say ghost, people just automatically go everywhere.
Well, yeah, but then they also they give it a person. You know, like well,
That
then
too.
who is it? Like, okay, well, maybe it's just energy. Maybe it's just trapped energy, and it could be a combination of memories of people. You know,
Yeah.
like it could just be an imprint. Like it's not actually a person. It's just a terrible thing that happened in that spot, that space where the energy became trapped. And so it's just reliving this loop over and over. So it's just trapped energy. Does that mean it has a thought? Does that mean it has a voice? Does that mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it then actually a living thing? Because
that's when it starts to get super, super like
weird.
Yeah.
Like, imagine. I mean, and when I think of it that way, I almost hope that we don't find that you know, spirits are real, because then
that will be a thing, and then it just,
well, then there's going to be people that are going to exploit these things. You know what I mean? They're gonna want to get as much money as they can out of these things. They're gonna want to.
I mean, I feel like people already do that. Conjuring House, Lizzie Borden House, Jack the Ripper Museum.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh wait, Jack the Ripper isn't a guy. I don't know why I said that. Amityville Horror.
Yeah. Then there's there's all kinds of things dedicated, shows, all kinds of things dedicated to the paranormal aspect. So it's definitely.
The Amityville movies that they make these days are horrible.
Are they?
Amityville Lake, like Amityville Shark. Those are real movies. I mean, they're not like official, like big budget movies, but
that's part of the reason I have given up on horror.
Is because they're just so tacky. And
it's overdone.
I feel like we need new ideas.
Absolutely. Like,
there have been a couple that have come out in the past years that I really liked that were new. Like Late Night with the Devil, Long Legs. I don't know if you ever saw Long Legs.
No, I did not.
I liked Smile. That was an original idea.
I haven't seen those, but I think a lot of the things that I might consider horror, personally, end up actually being thrillers. It's kind of a fine line for me, where it's something that it's not exactly intended to scare you, but it's kind of giving you a thrill ride of emotions. I think those tend to be the things that I enjoy more.
What would you consider a horror movie?
Something that kind of unnerves me. You know, like you watch it and then you go, oh.
Like The Strangers? Have you ever seen that?
I
Liv Taylor?
So. Yes.
That movie freaked me out. Still does.
Yes, I did see
that. Not the new one, but...
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But it has to be done in a way where it kind of leaves me with an imprint. Like, I'm going to think about this.
I think about The Strangers a lot.
The one I think about a lot is... I watched them recently. I've told you about them. Why can't I think? A Quiet Place.
Oh.
Those ones really stuck with me.
I really liked the first one. I was not expecting that kid to get taken like that. That freaked me out for a while.
I watched them out of order. like because I had not heard of them, and I was like, oh, well, this looks cool. So I actually started with the most recent one.
Well, I guess that's fine.
But like chronologically, like that would actually make sense.
Yeah.
Like the actual watching.
Release dates, you watched them out of order, but chronologically, I think you watched them right.
Right. So it was, I think it's A Quiet Place Day 0.
Day 1.
Day 1, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I watched that one and I was like, oh.
I really liked that one because it was like the city and the cat was like a main character.
Oh my God. All the time I'm like, where is the cat? Is the cat still alive? What did you do with the cat? That is an amazing cat. Like, I want that cat. Yes, that is definitely a movie that has and will stick with me. So things like that. But I think that's considered a thriller, right? That's not a horror.
I'd say it's a horror movie.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think so.
I don't know what it's considered.
I don't know how they categorize these things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's a fine line because... Or maybe I'm just preferring thrillers over horrors. Because horrors, a lot of people think of, like serial killers or paranormal happenings.
I mean, I watch a lot of horror movies. Or scary.
We're desensitized. Yes.
It takes a lot to scare me with a movie, I feel like.
Right. Because at this point, a lot of them are the same. Like, oh, okay, somebody dies. Oh, now they're going after all their friends because they witnessed it. Mm-hmm. Like, they're predictable.
Yeah.
At this point,
I'm so sick of sequels, prequels, spin-offs. Like, that's all it is now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They gotta stop with the Dexter spin-offs.
Well, they're making money.
They are, but they're gonna... Like, the new show that came out, I like it. But they're also coming out with 2 more, and I don't want them to ruin it.
Yes. There comes a point where things have to end.
Yes.
Before they ruin it.
Like Gladiator 2, not needed. That like
2?
Yeah, it just came out this November or last November.
Oh.
Like, I think that's insane. How old is that movie? Like,
yeah, that was a long time ago.
They're just bringing these things back, and then they're making another Jurassic World coming out this July.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I didn't...
Guess what it's called? Rebirth.
Oh. Humans are coming back. Cloning humans.
I don't even think it has anything to do with the other ones.
No. I did not know that they were doing that.
The only like remakes that I like is like old black and white movies. I feel like they can do good jobs with those. Yes. I want a Creature from the Black Lagoon they made.
Yes, but it needs to be done correctly. Like, I don't want a CGI monster. I want them to bring back that suit.
Yeah.
Like, you need to do this correctly.
I really like that movie.
They were good movies. There's more than one.
There is?
Yeah, I think there's 2. A second one where they actually capture it and like there's a whole thing. Yes, there's a second one.
Like the Godzilla movies, they were made those were good. Mm-hmm. They need to stop now.
I know, I just recently watched the other ones.
I don't like it.
No,
I didn't. X-Kong, the new Empire where they like team up.
Yeah.
That one was interesting with the mechanical arm.
Yeah, and like they somehow have these magical healing powers inside of it where, they got rid of his frostbite in minutes.
Yeah.
That was a little fantastical for me. Even for me.
Yeah. Like The King of the Monsters was a really good movie. It was Godzilla.
I don't think I saw that one.
Or Godzilla vs. Kong.
I saw that one. Again, I watched them out of order.
Mechazilla?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep, Mechagodzilla. Yep. Yeah.
How did we get from talking about
we redirected again. That's okay. So hunting ghosts is considered a pseudoscience because it's not something that can be proven or it's not something that can be made to happen on purpose.
Right.
So that's what it would take for scientists to understand. I think that was the original question that got us off topic. So the ghosts would need repeatable, verifiable evidence gathered through rigorous scientific experiments with a ghost or ghosts. So to me, that boils down to a ghost would need to be imprisoned for study, which Actually, that kind of annoys me because then we're imprisoning a ghost. Like that sounds wrong. Like they're already trapped as it is. Like, they're energy that hasn't or can't move on yet. So what are we supposed to do? Like now that we're having this discussion, I almost feel like we shouldn't know the answer. It's very strange to me. When I was originally looking up things for this episode, it was actually hard to find something that could tell me how to attempt to photograph a real ghost. I found a lot of things on how to create a photo that looked like it was a ghost or an apparition.
Oh.
Right? It actually seemed relatively easy.
Oh, probably, for sure.
Right?
Like, people are really good editors.
Well, no, it wasn't even about that. It wasn't even about editing. It was about the way that you actually capture the photo. So it said something about a long exposure. I don't know anything about technology.
Yeah, I know what that, yeah.
So I don't even know how to do that.
I couldn't explain it to you, but I know what it is.
Right. So even the Google AI, when I typed in how to capture a ghost, it told me how to take a photo of a fake ghost. It didn't even want to offer the option of taking a picture of a real ghost. So, but I also, I jumped into that rabbit hole and I started reading things about how to take a fake photo because it was interesting to me. And a lot of these pictures were really cool. So it just showed that you have the long exposure and you especially need a huge contrast in color. So like if you have a light background, you use someone or something that is a darker background.
That can also be done like in post-editing.
Yeah, so and then you have this person move through the frame of the photo that you're taking. So does long exposure mean the amount of time it takes to take the photo? Kind of like a live photo and then it kind of puts it together?
Like, I'm not even sure if I know what it means, but this is what I think it means. Like, like an old, like, Polaroid? Like, if it gets exposed to light, it'll turn white.
Yeah.
Like, long exposure, I feel like it's just brightened and then it uses contrast to, like, mix and make weird things. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but correct me if I'm wrong, viewers.
Right, yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
I know, I need someone to explain this to me, because I don't... I am not technology-wise. Like, I am terrible. As a matter of fact, technology typically doesn't work correctly for me. Like, no matter what, no matter where I go, there is always something where they're like, oh, hold on, our system isn't doing this correctly. Every time.
Well, supposedly, like, ghosts or spirits or whatever can... Like, I feel like people think that they can use, like, technology... Not, like, use technology, but, like, manipulate it. And I have an example. Like, after the Ouija board incident, like I said, I set up the GoPros. But my GoPro, when I went to check the footage, it said footage could not be found. Like, the day after, the SD card was just wiped. I didn't wipe it.
Well, that's also like with our recording of
Slender Man.
The Slender Man, yes, where our audio was just gone.
Yeah, completely. Not even fainted, not...
Yeah. So does that mean I'm a ghost? Does that mean I have a ghost attached to me where everywhere I go, it's like, just right? Do I have George still following me around? But yeah, no matter where I go, there's always something that goes wrong. Like, I spent an hour in a Target one time because the gift cards we used didn't want to work. They worked, but then the system malfunctioned, took the money off of them. But then it wouldn't accept that they had taken the money off of it. It was, I don't even understand it.
How you... What?
I don't even understand it. Like, it was a mess. A mess.
Well, if George is here right now, he should slam that door shut.
Let's not invite things. But it does seem really simple to create a fake ghost. So that makes me wonder,
how many photos are actually fake?
well, that's weird.
Do you keep getting notifications?
No, I haven't gotten any. I wonder why it keeps popping on.
Probably shouldn't have said that.
Right? I guess he didn't slam the door. Did I breathe on it?
Wait, let's see when it shuts off.
I'll try and breathe on it. That's really weird. That's the second time it did that.
So you have to kind of...
So you have to actually touch it. So we're recording this with my phone. And it went dark. And after Wyatt asked George to shut the door of the room that we're in, my phone lit up. So we waited for my phone to go dim again, to darken. And we tried to breathe on it, go near it, see if it would turn on again. To see what causes it to pop on. And it didn't until I actually touched it.
Firmly.
Right. And I actually had to do 2 attempts to get it to turn back on. So that's actually interesting that happened that. That's a fun fact. Thank you, George.
Obviously, it can be explained somehow, but
yeah, maybe
still
it just
interesting.
Maybe it just pops on by itself. I would say maybe a fleck of dust fell on it, but I had to tap it twice for it to pop back on like that.
It's interesting.
Thanks, George. Keep us safe. Thanks.
So with capturing ghosts and how it could be fake, there's this picture that I'm sure you've seen, the Amityville ghost. The little boy on the stairs.
Yeah.
It's a very, very famous photo.
I mean, maybe I've seen it, not knew what it was called. Not known what it was called.
Yeah. I don't know how that could be fake since it was taken back then. Obviously, I shouldn't say easily. Obviously, it could have been faked. That, I'm pretty sure, is the kid that died.
Oh, yeah, it looks a lot like him. But, so is this was taken in a house that was presumed to be empty?
No, this is the Amityville house. Oh,
right.
I think it was empty.
So nobody was living there at the time?
I think so.
So why would somebody take a picture of the end of the stairs like that?
What do you mean?
This was before cell phones, so I'm assuming someone was taking this with a camera that has a film, right? I recall having to go to a drugstore and actually get film developed. So you purchase film. You don't have endless film like you would in a cell phone.
It also could have been just photos of the house for a crime scene or...
Right, that's what I'm saying. What was the purpose of taking this photo? Because that is a very random spot to take a photo when your space is limited. You know what I'm saying? We used to have huge camera bags that we would take with us with rolls upon rolls of film. And you would have to keep track of which ones have been used already and which ones haven't. So this isn't like someone just took their phone out of their pocket and accidentally took a photo.
Yeah.
This was an intentional photo that was taken. So why did they take this photo?
I'm not sure. I can look into that real quick. But the kid, John, was 9 years old and he was killed in the house. So.
But, I mean, trying to find out whether this photo is real or not makes me ask the question, why was that photo taken like that? Did somebody hear something and think oh, maybe it's a ghost, and they decided to take the picture?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Or were they taking real estate photos trying to sell this house, and then this is what was caught? Why? I don't understand the purpose of taking that photo. It's literally a doorway and the end of the stairs. Without other people in the photo. So was somebody just trying to take a photo of their child doing something cute at the stairs, but it ended up being a creepy photo?
Well, what I'm also thinking is it could be a paranormal investigator that we both well know.
Right. But again, were they just walking around taking random photos in hopes to get something?
It's very possible.
And then they did? But that looks like a very solid person.
Yeah, like a real...
Right.
And I know this was taken after the deaths. And that looks like John.
It does look like the little boy. But that doesn't mean that somebody, took their kid into the house and took this photo.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Yeah, and this was also before red eye was resolved. I don't know if you recall red eye in photos back in the day, but it was when the light reflected off of your pupil and it turned your eyes bright red.
That still sometimes happens.
It does, but...
Very freaky when it does.
Yeah, we've come to a point where that doesn't necessarily happen. So even further, this must have been what, 70s? It looks like the 70s. 80s, early 80s?
I think it happened in the 70s,
But the photo.
Probably
it looks
70s?
like 70s, early 80s.
Ed on the Rain could have just taken random photos of the house.
Yeah. So I want to know the circumstances that this photo was taken before I even want to call it real or not real.
Oh, here we go. In 1976, professional photographer Gene Campbell set up a camera on the second floor landing of 112 Ocean Drive, Amityville, New York, the location of the Defoe murders 2 years earlier. Ashley wrote on this post, many rolls of film were exposed, all showing nothing out of the ordinary except for this one frame. Is this the ghost of John Matthew Defoe?
So this was a paranormal investigator? Is that what it said? That's what it said, right?
And I'm pretty sure this was by one of the murder...
So...
Dare I look up Amityville murder photos?
So... This guy was taking random photos in hopes of getting something? Is that what I read? Is that how that...
I think so, but I'm also pretty sure someone was murdered by the staircase, so I guess that's not out of the ordinary.
Oh, there's the staircase.
Yeah, staircase, but I'm looking for...
It's not the right spot, though.
Maybe they just took a picture of the entire house. Looks like a very nice house.
70s sure was a strange time.
So some of these were definitely taken after the bodies were moved.
What's that? What is that? That's not stairs. What is it?
There was an envelope in it.
Oh, how the hell did they find that?
I don't know. This is their job, so...
I guess. To rip up carpet? Strange happening.
Maybe it was already ripped up and someone tripped on it.
Not seeing the end of the stairs here.
I'm not either. Oh,
I see.
look at that. Looks like a...
blood stain.
Yeah, on the red carpet.
Yeah.
You can barely see it.
So this was the one where the guy went crazy, murdered his family, and then himself, right?
I believe so. It's the guy that was like saying that someone told him to do it, right?
Right, but how did they know that if he killed himself?
The letter.
Oh, but why would he hide it?
But I don't think he killed himself.
No?
Because I'm pretty sure there was a jail photo. I forget his name. I feel like that photo is real because there's obviously what seems to be a blood stain on the carpeted stairs. And because I feel like it's a lot harder to fake something like that back then.
Well, like I said, that kid looks three-dimensional. Like, he looks like he's a person in that photo. He doesn't look...
Ghost. But why was his eyes so white?
The flash. Or just, the exposure to your eye. And like we were talking about with the red eye. Like, this was the 70s. It said it was 1976. So they don't have the technologies that we have now to prevent that from happening to your eyes. So all it takes is the light hitting your eyeball, it reflects, and now your eyeballs are these two glowing orbs. So I don't know. I don't know if I would take that as a ghost because it looks like a child.
It does. I don't know. I guess I can't really say because I wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't have all of the circumstances for...
I feel like there's a good possibility it would be real, but there's always a chance it's fake.
Yep. And
there always is with something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And such a horrible thing happened in that house.
Yeah.
And then this guy is going through taking all of these photos. It said that there were film rolls upon rolls taken, and there's
there was
only one photo.
So that's also why I kind of feel like it could be.
I don't know, but if something that horrible happened and that ghost can appear like that in such a vivid, full photo, why is it the only one?
Maybe there are others. People just don't really see.
Well, like, I mean, just on the rolls upon rolls of those photos, how is that the only one?
I feel like there would have been at least like another one or two.
Yeah, like if that was actually the photo of a ghost.
There was 6 people killed there.
Right.
Also, Ronald Defoe did not kill himself. He was in prison. And he died actually just about 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's a little close to home. It feels weird to me.
I cannot believe that he was alive that long.
Yeah, that almost feels wrong.
Yeah, he was like probably like...
He had to have been like 60s, 70s, right? Because he had to have been, what, at least 30, 40 in the 70s?
And that's what I was trying to figure out. I was going to say like in his 20s, but he had like quite a few children.
Yeah, if he had like 3 or 4 kids. I mean, you started earlier back then, but... but, I mean, yeah, if he was 30s, 40s, he'd be 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
At that point. That's crazy. So, I guess in the end, there's no real concrete way to capture a ghost.
There is ways to try and like find one or like know that one's there, but there's no way to like capture it on film.
No, not for sure. Not for at least not yet. At least not yet. Maybe technology will get there one day.
And next episode we're going to be talking about exorcisms, right?
Yes, how to get rid of a ghost or
spirit,
negative energy, something.
I wouldn't say demon,
lines.
But
yeah, demon
feels too demon.
We'll have to try and come up with a word that makes sense.
Or we should just research like other words that people really use.
Yeah, I feel like apparition, maybe. I feel like apparition might be the right word. I think that's the word we've been looking for. I
like that word.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily attached to a human soul that we would think of. Apparition.
Well, I think this wraps up this episode.
Yes.
I'm Wyatt.
I'm Erica.
Thanks for listening. This is Tales Untold.